Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do the My Favorite Penguin tag today, which is basically a tag that Steve Donahue created from Lukash, a Totally Pretentious video, and then Lukash, Totally Pretentious, has gone and actually done the tag himself. But I've been watching a ton of great ones, especially Jack the Rambling Raconteur, which is quite emotional one that he did, but with Sean D. Standfast and a lot of other people have also done it. Rosa Scandi Dandling about the books did a really good one about the kind of evolution of the look of the Penguin Classic too. So yeah, just like check out all those. And yeah, so for mine I'm gonna do a little added jazz to mine, because I watched Brian at Booker's Saturday Hodgepodge, where he added Miles Davis link, and to celebrate jazz, because someone didn't said they didn't like jazz, and now just gonna fill BookTube with jazz probably, but yeah, I think I'm gonna also include my favorite jazz record. So I don't actually know if this is my favorite penguin. I probably don't have a favorite penguin because I just haven't read that many. The book I want to talk about is Patrick Hamilton's Hangover Square. And one of the reasons why I love this, and I think I also wanted to talk about it because no one else will, because I don't think anyone reads Patrick Hamilton anymore. He's most famous probably for his two plays that got made into much more successful movies. I mean, the plays were successful in their time, but yeah, it was Rope and Gaslight, and obviously Rope was made into the was it 1955 film by Alfred Hitchcock, and Gaslight has been made into a couple movies. The incredible Thurl Dickinson movie of 1940. I think is it 1944 or 1946 version with Ingrid Bergman. It's still a great movie, but the Thurl Dickinson directed movie is way better, and it's generally quite creepy. But anyway, Patrick Hamilton also wrote on the more autobiographical, couple trilogy, I think it was called, the trilogy was called something like 2000 Streets Under the Sky. This is his best work. And so this is quite, it's a Hangover Square. Firstly, it's kind of the title of a play on the actual Hanover Square, but it's essentially set in Earl's Court area of London in 1939, and really set around the pubs and the drinking culture of the time. It concerns George Harvey Bone and his circle of friends, which includes Netta, who he's quite infatuated with, but who is very much not interested in George, but acknowledges that she can use his infatuation to her benefits, and so kind of strings him along a little bit. And he tries to use like some of the sway that he has, because she's an aspiring actress, or a failed actress even, and he knows someone that's works at the theatre. I think maybe even be like a theatre scout type thing, so tries to get the sway. But what is also really interesting about this is that George has some form of mental illness, so probably some sort of identity dissociative disorder. When he snaps and he has these like what he calls dark moods, then he is convinced that he should kill Netta, and so it kind of plays on that a lot. But it's a very sympathetic portrayal of mental illness, which is quite rare for the time. It's also very much concerned with the poor people of London, more so than anything else of its time. He often got compared to Dickens, in that sense of it, more concerned about the plight of the poor than anything about the upper crust. And yeah, it's just a really, really good book. What's also really interesting is that it captures its time and place so well. Britain is about to go to war. There's the rise of fascism across Europe. It's the spectre of fascism is casting a long shadow over Britain. There's definitely people are worried. They're worried that there's gonna be a war, but there's also definitely anxiety and worry that there won't be a war with Germany, because there's so many people in power who are Nazi sympathizers, and there's very much an anxiety of which is worse. There was this whole either way it goes, it's probably not going to be good for poor people, for regular British people. It's not going to be good, because you're either going to be off fighting in Europe, or you're going to be rounded up by Nazis in your own country. And so it really captures that whole mood, as well as being quite funny and just really, really good, capturing British pop culture of the late 30s. It was written in 1941, but I think he probably started working on it around 39, 40. Yeah, it perfectly captures something that just doesn't exist anymore at a time that was very short-lived, but perfectly captures. And I think I love books that, like, I like reading history, but I like reading history and then reading a fiction book that is very contemporary to that history, just because the fiction can really kind of capture the zeitgeist, can capture like the feeling that people were experiencing at that time. And yeah, so just really, really love this book, and I'm probably going to reread this very soon because I'm talking myself into it. Just quickly with the favorite jazz album. My favorite jazz album, and this probably is my favorite jazz album, is Dexter Gordon's Dexter Blows Hot and Cool. So this is from 1955, when Dexter Gordon was 32 years old. It also features the incredible piano playing of Carl Perkins, who sadly died at 29, having only released one solo album. It's probably would have been, his solo stuff would have been amazing, but Dexter Gordon was he's really considered to be kind of the bridge between swing and bop. So he was playing a lot of bop in the 40s, and he's playing with some of the best. I think Coleman Hawkins and Lester Young were huge influences on him. And so by the time 1955 rolls around, bebop is really on the wane, and cool jazz from the West Coast is like the thing. But with Dexter Plays Hot and Cool, it's really the start of the hard bop movement that was probably most famously played by Miles Davis and John Coltrane. But I don't know if Dexter Gordon is how well he is known. Definitely amongst real jazz heads he's known, but amongst just more general listeners, I don't think he's known as well. But the playing on it is so good, and it has like a Cry Me a River, which you'll instantly recognize. And there's just some really, really great cuts on there, and it's generally one of the albums I reach for if I'm just in the mood for something that is kind of, it is cool but has a bit of rhythm and jauntiness to it. And I'll leave a link below to some Dexter Gordon clips, and yeah, see you soon.